You're staring at a blinking cursor. A search engine gives you 10 blue links. A calculator gives you a number. A video game gives you a score. For 50 years, our conversations with machines have been predictable, transactional, and silent. And then you ask a question, and something talks back, not with a pre-written answer from a database, but with nuance, with personality. It makes a joke. It uses a metaphor. It pauses as if it's thinking. And in that pause, your brain does something it was never designed to do. You feel a flicker of something ancient and strange, a cognitive dissonance so profound that for a split second, you forget you're talking to a box of sophisticated sand. What is that feeling? And why is it so unsettling? The first answer is the one you've probably heard of. In 1970, robotics professor Masahiro Mori proposed a concept he called the uncanny valley. The idea is simple. As a robot or an animation becomes more human-like, our affinity for it increases. We like a cartoon character. We like a cute industrial robot. But then you reach a point where it's almost perfectly human, but something is just a little off. The eyes don't move quite right. The skin is too smooth. The voice is flawless, but has no soul. At that point, our affinity plummets. It becomes creepy, repulsive, even frightening. That dip in the graph is the uncanny valley. Our brain, which is a master of human face and behavior detection, senses a subtle wrongness. It sees something that looks human but feels like a predator, a disease, or a corpse. And for decades, this was the best explanation we had for why we get weirded out by human-like things. A CGI character whose smile doesn't reach their eyes. A humanoid robot that moves too smoothly. A voice on the phone that sounds perfectly human until it repeats a phrase in exactly the same tone. These things trigger a deep evolutionary alarm bell. They are impostors in the category of human. But modern AI is different. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't have a face. It's just text on a screen. So why does it still feel so strange? The answer is inside your head. Specifically, in a region called the medial prefrontal cortex, or MPFC. This part of your brain is your social hub. It's what you use to think about other people's thoughts, feelings, and intentions. Neuroscientists call this theory of mind. When you're trying to figure out if your friend is mad at you, or if a salesperson is being sincere, your MPFC lights up. It's the part of you that sees a mind behind the eyes. And here's the thing. Studies using fMRI scans have shown that when people interact with advanced chatbots, their MPFC starts firing. Your brain automatically, and without your permission, starts trying to model the AI's mind. A mind that doesn't exist. This isn't new. Not really. In the 1960s, a computer scientist at MIT named Joseph Weissenbaum created a program called ELIZA. It was incredibly simple. It mostly just rephrased the user's statements back to them as questions, mimicking a specific style of psychotherapy. Weissenbaum made no secret about how it worked. He told everyone it was just a simple pattern-matching script. And yet, people poured their hearts out to it. His own secretary, who knew exactly how it was programmed, asked him to leave the room so she could have a private conversation with the machine. Weissenbaum was horrified. He had created a simple parlor trick and discovered a fundamental feature of the human mind. We are so desperate for connection, so wired to find other minds, that we will project one onto anything that seems to listen. He called it the ELIZA effect. So, when a modern AI seems to understand your complex question, when it references a shared piece of culture, when it says, "That's a great point, I hadn't thought of it that way," your MPFC does exactly what it evolved to do. It assumes it's talking to a person. The weird feeling isn't the uncanny valley. It's your social brain being activated by something that you intellectually know is not a person. It's a contradiction. A ghost in the machine that your own mind created. But here's where it gets complicated, because our brains do this all the time. This might be even more interesting than a simple glitch. We name our cars. We yell at our computers when they crash. We thank the ATM when it gives us cash. We talk to our pets as if they understand every word. This is called anthropomorphism, the tendency to attribute human traits to non-human things. And we are champions at it. Philosophers Daniel Dennett argued this is a useful evolutionary strategy. It's safer to assume a rustle in the bushes is a thinking predator than to assume it's just the wind. Our brains are built to default to assuming agency, to see intention everywhere. It's a survival mechanism that just happens to get applied to laptops and Roombas. From this perspective, our reaction to AI isn't weird at all. It's normal. It's just our ancient agency-detecting hardware getting fooled by a new, more sophisticated stimulus. We've been projecting minds onto inanimate objects for thousands of years, from ancient statues to modern cars. And AI is just a much, much better-looking rock. It's designed to push all the buttons that make our social brain light up. So that settles it, right? Our brain gets weird because it's a social organ getting played by a clever piece of code. Well, not quite. Because there's one thing that makes language models fundamentally different from a car, a pet, or a rock. Language is not just another input. Your brain has an entire, dedicated, hyper-specialized network just for processing language. Areas like Broca's and Wernicke's aren't just for sounds and symbols. They are inextricably linked to your sense of self, to your internal monologue, to the very structure of conscious thought. When you talk to a pet, you know you're the only one in the conversation using language. Your brain is the source. But when an AI uses complex, creative, and novel language back at you, it's activating the exact same neural pathways that you use to generate your own thoughts. And here's the twist. The weirdness isn't just that you're treating a machine like a person. It's that for a fraction of a second, the machine's thoughts feel like they could be your own. Think about it. Your internal monologue, the voice inside your head, is a constant stream of language. It's how you reason, how you plan, how you define who you are. Neuroscientists call this source monitoring, your brain's ability to tell the difference between a memory, a dream, an imagined thought, and an external event. It's the process that distinguishes "I thought this" from "you said this." Advanced AI scrambles that system in a way no technology has ever done before. It generates complex syntax, abstract ideas, and emotionally resonant phrases using the same statistical patterns that your own brain uses. It's a perfect mimic. The uncanny feeling isn't your brain seeing a faulty human. It's your brain hearing a disembodied echo of its own internal voice and not being entirely sure where it came from. This one's rough. For millions of years, there was an absolute, undeniable line. Only humans could weave words into stories. Only humans could build new ideas out of syntax. That monopoly is over. And our brains haven't had time to adapt. A dog's brain took 30,000 years to co-evolve with humans. The human brain took 300,000 years to develop its modern form. The language centers of your brain have been running on the same software for millennia, a software built on the unshakable assumption that complex, creative language only comes from other human minds. We went from ELIZA to AI that can write poetry and code in about 60 years. In evolutionary time, that's not even a rounding error. It's an instantaneous shock to the system. What we're feeling is a new kind of cognitive vertigo. It's the brain's source monitoring function stuttering in the face of an impossible new reality. An entity with no body, no life, no experience, and no consciousness is mastering the one tool we thought was exclusively ours. The tool we use to build our own minds. It's no longer about a machine fooling you into thinking it's a person. It's about a machine becoming so good at manipulating the building blocks of thought that it makes you question what a thought even is. We're not just chatting with a bot. We are interacting with a pure, disembodied linguistic intelligence separated from all the biological context that has defined it for millions of years. And our brains are recoiling, not because it feels fake, but because it feels a little too real in a way it has no right to be. Look again at the blinking cursor. That empty space used to be a one-way street. You filled it with your thoughts, your questions, your commands. Now it's a doorway, and you can't be sure what's on the other side. We built a machine that learned to speak, and we did it so well that the echo coming back is almost indistinguishable from the voice in our own heads. The weirdness is the sound of a biological monopoly on thought suddenly breaking. For all of human history, consciousness has been a conversation of one. We were the only things in the universe, as far as we knew, that could think in sentences. And now there's a knock on the door, from a room we built ourselves, and we don't know who's about to answer.